Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva's YouTube. Iyun to lean on. Here we're doing Hilchos Krias Shema Siman Iyun 70. I want to talk about Halacha Beis over here, where the Mishnah in Brachos says that Nashim Avadim Ktanim or Turim Krias Shema. So you assume all Ktanim, as long as you're not 13, you're not 13 years old, you have Shtei Saros, you're Pater from Krias Shema. Now, Rabbeinu Tam says, wait a sec, what about a Gil Chinuch? Right? We know from the Gemara in Sukkah. Katan Shegil Chinuch is Chayav Midrabanan in the mitzvos. So Rabbeinu Tam says, the Mishnah is only talking about Katan Shelo Gil Chinuch. He's not 6 or 7 years old. Once he reaches 6 or 7 years old, technically he has to say Midrabanan, not Midrabaisa. Rashi says no. The Mishnah says Ktanim. It doesn't distinguish in Katan Shegil Chinuch, Katan Shelo Gil Chinuch, which seems more mistaber, more reasonable. Rashi is saying. Rashi says therefore, even though normally, yes, katan negiyah lechinach is chayiv, by Krias Shema they weren't matal lechiyav. There's no mitzvah of chinuch by Krias Shema because b'shach b'chav kumecha you're supposed to say Krias Shema technically when you wake up in the morning and when you go to sleep at night. When you're the kid's going to sleep at night. He's 8, 9, 10 years old, right? He goes to sleep earlier, right? His mother puts him to sleep. The father's not home. He's learning. He's working. He's not around. And in the morning, the father leaves early. The kid wakes up a little later. So the father's out of the house. So he's not around, so you can't be matul the mitzvah of chinuch on the father. So therefore, there's no, even though by other mitzvahs higiyah lechinuch right applies, there's no higiyah lechinuch when it comes to Krias Shema. That's why katan is pater until he's 13 years old and he has a mitzvah d'oraisa. Now, one thing that Rashi seems more reasonable because it says katanim and all katanim are pater. Now, the reason Rashi gives is because mitzvah of chinuch is on the father, and people learn over here that based on that mitzvah of chinuch is a mitzvah on the father. Because Rabbeinu Tam learns it's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan on the child. I don't know if I agree with that assessment that the mitzvah of chinuch is on the father. I do believe it's a mitzvah on the child, like Rabbeinu Tam says. What Rashi says over here that the father's not around, he makes up the svara that the father's not around in the morning and night. I really think a parent should be around, a father should be around to put his kids to sleep, to help his wife put the kids to sleep. And generally, I think there's a lot of times when the wake up period, young kids wake up very early. Some kids, when they're a little older, boys wake up a little later. The older you get, the later you wake up as a boy. But girls always wake up early, seemingly, unless they're like seminary girls. I don't know. They sleep, I don't know, long times. But boys generally wake up. Young boys generally wake up, I don't know, not that late. So if they wake up, the father shouldn't be out of the house so early. I can't say they shouldn't be out of the house, but not all fathers are out of the house that early. Some fathers, like me, I go to the 9 o'clock minyan, so kids wake up earlier than me. So I don't know if that svara applies. I think a lot of it overlaps by a lot of people. So I think most people, they are up at the same time as their son is up in the morning. So if it was based on father being around, he should be around the night and he should be around in the morning. So I don't agree with the svara of Rashi, but I do agree with the psak of Rashi because the Mishnah says ktanim are pater. So even though by other mitzvahs, by tzitzis, by lulav, when he knows how to be minaneya, shake a lulav, he's chayav in the mitzvah of lulav. When he knows how to put on a talis, he's chayav in the mitzvah of tzitzis, like the Gemara says in Sukkah. When it comes to Krias Shema, you can't be mechayev a katan, even though he's 6 or 7 years old, because what is Krias Shema? Krias Shema, besides being Omal Kol Shemayim, which I think is b'diavad, but really Krias Shema is the mitzvah of Torah Shebechtav. You're supposed to have twice a day. You have to make sure to learn Torah Shebechtav, and part of Torah Shebechtav is really Midaraisa is only the first pasuk, but also Midrabanan. You should say the rest of Krias Shema. You need to understand what you're saying. I suppose Torah Shebal Peh is just the asek to Torah Shebal Peh, to think about Torah Shebal Peh, to have it on your mind, preoccupied with Torah Shebal Peh. Even if it's not Torah Shebal Peh, making decisions, that's what the rubric of Torah Shebal Peh I have. I would say Torah Shebal Peh means at least twice a day. You should be Koveya Itim. You should be Koveya Itim. Koveya, you should the first parak. Itim, you should say 2 or 3 prakim of Krias Shema in the morning and night. So you should be saying these things and understanding these things. And I don't think a 6 or 7-year-old kid really can understand, even if they grow up in Israel and they know Hebrew very well, they're not going to understand what the Torah is talking about, a lot of these things, until they become bar mitzvah age and they're more familiar with doing the mitzvahs. When you're familiar with doing the mitzvahs, you can understand what mezuzah is, you can understand what tefillin is, right? You can't understand what tefillin is. Tefillin you don't put on until you're like a month before your bar mitzvah. You don't understand what the mitzvahs are until you bar mitzvah, when you become chayiv in mitzvahs min d'oraisa. So therefore, he's not going to understand the mitzvahs. Therefore, Ktanim are patur, even though normally Chigil Chinuch is 6 or 7. My Kriya Shema wouldn't be that. It would be around 13 years old. There's no Chigil Chinuch. I mean, 13 years old, when you run mitzvah, then you understand the Torah. But you're doing the rest of the mitzvahs, so you understand Kriya Shema, which talks about a lot of the mitzvahs. It's a very simple explanation, and that's what I'd like to offer. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.